Denim is in demand at Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston. Get cash on the spot for everything denim. Bring in your trendy and classic styles of gently used name brand denim. Get paid for your denim shorts, skirts, jackets, jeans, and more. We're looking for denim that is blue, black, or a bold color, and jeans in styles like mom jeans, bootcut, baggy, flared, and ripped. We want everything denim. Sell your denim for cash at Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
You're listening to the Roaring Repeater podcast on 7220sports.com. Here's Cody.
This is the Roaring Repeater podcast here on 7220sports.com. I am Cody Tucker, joined in studio today by Jared Newland, as always, former Wyoming Cowboy, Adam Waddell. Excited to have you in, Adam. First things first, though, and Adam brought this up before we came on the air. It's a disgusting realization, something that really hit me last night as I'm watching Nevada get their teeth kicked in. Jared, last year at this time, we were in Dayton, Ohio, at an awesome Irish bar, by the way, that looked like it was going to be a lot of fun on St. Paddy's Day. How the times have changed that quickly in a year from a 25-9 team to a 9-win team. And Adam talked about, we were on the air last year after the tournament game in Dayton saying, hey guys, the future is so unbelievably bright. Like, we won't be in the first four next year. It'll just be, it's in the field. I mean, it was all but a guarantee. And here we are getting ready to watch the NCAA tournament with Wyoming nowhere near it. Isn't
now you got me thinking about that Reuben sandwich I had. That thing was good.
How about those beers they were pouring and they were putting like clovers on top?
Yeah, it's kind of like what a barista does at a coffee place.
Yeah.
They do that with Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't drink a Guinness if you paid me.
They said that was the country's second largest St. Paddy's Day party, I think.
Yeah.
In Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's a corner where all these bars, or all downtown comes together, and they set up this huge tent. And they said there's just like 5,000 people out there. And he walked us into the other side of the bar, and it was just Jameson bottles, like cases of Jameson. And he said some ungodly amount of number of cases. He goes, oh yeah, it'll all be gone by St. Paddy's Day.
Do you remember too that they took us in that back room, the owner did? They like moved a church, like an old church, maybe even from Ireland. I can't remember, but it had all the original like stained glass and stuff.
It was really cool.
It was an awesome place. And who would have thought Dayton, Ohio, some huge Irish enclave? I would have never in a million years thought. I wish we would have stayed for it.
So if Wyoming happens to play in the first four again,
Dayton?
definitely go.
Yes.
So Dayton was cool. The night before we had some trouble finding beer, but
I mean, when we got in and got picked up at the airport, or actually picked Ryan Thorburn up at the airport, right?
Yeah,
or me, or who, I don't know how it all worked out. But it took us a while to find, and after the game, we couldn't find a place to eat.
Oh,
So
I forgot
busy?
about that.
No.
Oh, there just wasn't anywhere to eat.
Nothing was open.
It's a small town. It's a pretty small town.
We ended up at a McDonald's like at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Why do they
that's
have
true.
the first four there?
Well, that's a funny. Jared pissed the guy off at the hotel right away, and he was like, "You call this a host city? There's not even any beer," and he was so offended.
Okay.
It just sucks to think about, man. You know, to think where we were at this time last year, and to think where we're at now. Of course, it's been a season from hell, and, you know, most would say it's been a week from hell for the University of Wyoming basketball team, who lost Noah Reynolds, Nate Barnhart, Jeremiah Oden, and we don't know if we're done there. Sundance Wicks, a very popular assistant coach from Gillette, is now the head coach at Wisconsin Green Bay. Congratulations to him, but that brings me to another point that drives me completely insane, and I would love your guys' take on this. I see the same people saying, congratulations, Sonny. Wow, what a huge opportunity. Oden, you dick. What are you doing? You have no loyalty anymore. Does that drive you? Does that just drive me nuts, or does that drive any of you guys nuts?
I know from being in Cowboy Joe, from being a player and being from Wyoming, I know that Wyoming fans want loyalty. They want this Hunter Maldonado no matter what. They want a me no matter what. I know Eric Platt left, but they want the Marcus Baileys. They want those guys who are going to be here no matter what because they love the brand. They love Wyoming. They love the brown and gold. Mm-hmm. That's not how it is.
Not many of you are from Wyoming.
Nope. I will tell you that the majority of the guys that come into Laramie don't even like Laramie. They're waiting to get out. They're waiting for the next step. It is a step. Do they eventually fall in love with Laramie? They do. But that thought of they owe Wyoming something, they don't have that.
No.
They don't have that thinking. So they're coming in thinking this is a stepping stone. I know a lot of guys come in thinking they're going to the league, and they're young and frankly dumb thinking that. Yeah. So, I don't ever see that. I see it as if those guys are not happy, they need to get out, because if they're not happy, they're going to end up being a cancer to the team anyways. Yep. They're going to be against coach. They're going to go against the grain. They're going to do all the wrong things. They're going to, be in the locker room telling guys that they need to leave or I'm getting out of here. And it's constant. I hate it. And that is, we don't want to see this, but it is the reality of where we're at today, and it stinks. I think Wyoming is not the only school going through the throes of the transfer portal and what it means to every school, but this is going to be it moving forward. Now, I think, if there are, and we can talk about it, if there are other factors that go into these guys wanting to leave, there's that. But every single year you're going to have guys leave. I would say when I was playing that we always had 2 or 3 guys every year that would leave. They were unhappy. And
there was no portal then.
There was no portal then. They were that unhappy that they wanted to leave, and they were talented, really very, very talented guys that could have helped us, go even further. Mm-hmm. And I think of the Desmar Jacksons of the world. I think of the Amat Mbes of the world. Those guys went on to have great careers elsewhere, but they could have helped us. But they were unhappy. So that situation was not good. It was not good. Mm-hmm. So
that's great perspective from your side.
Yeah,
absolutely, because fans don't think about that.
And Cody, your conversation with Berman, he said he expects 20% of the roster to be gone every year.
Every sport.
Well, it's kind of been that way anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
now it just pisses people off because they can go play immediately.
Yeah. True.
But that's right. He said 20%, and that's what I was going to mention. 20% of every single sport, which 20% of football, that's a chunk of dudes. I mean, that's like we've seen, 10 to 15, 9 to 15 dudes. Mm-hmm. And, if they're not happy, see ya. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And by the way, the noise in the background, we go over this every week. We're in a construction zone here, so...
It's getting closer, folks.
Yeah, Jared's brushing his teeth if you hear that vibrating. It's interesting that you bring that up. And somebody yesterday, Adam on Facebook, said, can we just address the elephant in the room? Laramie is not a great place to live. And I went, these guys are, I see people go, they left because of the weather. And I'm like, oh, get the hell out of here with that, would you please? If you could talk to this, and I know you're a Wyoming guy, but how important is it that she brought up San Diego? It's like, it's not San Diego. Well, no, it's not. But what I think is better about Laramie than San Diego is you probably couldn't go in a pizza place without people going, oh, my God, there's Adam Waddell. Mm-hmm. I remember my ex-girlfriend worked in the same building with you at the Quest building and texted me and said, I'm on the elevator with Adam Waddell. You think they're going to say that in San Diego, California, no matter how good the Aztecs are?
They aren't. And I think guys realize that when they get to Laramie, how special it is, how small town it is. I always compare the wrestling team with the basketball team or the football team in the sense that they always recruit, and it's Coach Wrestling.
Branch.
Coach Branch. Gosh, played some awesome lunch street rules volleyball with Coach Branch. But he recruits guys that are, they go camping, they go hunting. They might put a dip in every once in a while.
Ride horses.
They're those type of guys. Mm. We cannot be competitive in Laramie without recruiting guys that are not like that.
Yeah.
They just, plain and simple. Mm. But I always bring up the story of Afam, and I always bring up the story of JD. JD was from San Diego, and he came to Laramie, and he hated every single bit of that first year when it got cold. He was away from family. And by the end, by the time he left and graduated, he fell in love with it. He liked Laramie. Is he going to live there for the rest of his life? No, he's not. But he did like it, and it just. I think when guys get there, they feel the magic. They know that they are the celebrity people. I mean, the only university, that is a huge draw for a lot of guys. And once they get there and they see that, it's big. But like I said before, I think a lot of the guys now, especially with bigger aspirations, they come in and they are on to the next almost. Yeah. And you got to really bring them in, and they got to really, really love it.
And if this lady that you're talking about, I actually read those comments, and if she thinks that Laramie has something to do with it and the weather, watch two of these players possibly go to Green Bay. The weather is a hell of a lot colder in Green Bay, Wisconsin than it is in Laramie, Wyoming.
That's a fact. Jeff Linder said, so I just thought about this. Jeff said something after senior night that kind of struck me. He said that Hunter Thompson and Hunter Maldonado will always have a home because they stayed. And he said a lot of people, I can't remember his exact quote, it was really good. A lot of guys now are timeshare guys. They don't have a home to come back to. And Adam and I do that Celebrities for a Cause deal up in Cody every summer. Think about stuff like that. How many Wyoming guys come to that? Marcus Harris is coming this year.
Yep.
Nobody's forgotten about Marcus Harris. He's a Bolitnikoff winner. He's a 2-time All-American. He's coming to that. That's going to be a big draw.
Speaking of him, Marcus texted me last night. Said, "Hey, do you know Cody Tucker?" And I was like, Marcus, yes, we actually worked together.
Yeah, where's that going?
We hired him and bought him out of his company, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, it doesn't mean you guys talk to each other.
Was he drinking last night?
He may have been. I don't know, but we had a good little laugh about that. So anyway.
But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a good point that you have a home. And this will always be your home. And he brought up the fact that Maldonado and Thompson can walk through the tailgate park at football games, and they're never going to buy a beer in the state again.
Yep.
Is that a big deal to you guys, or can you even see the forest through the trees?
I don't. I think it's person to person. I mean, it really is. I
mean, you've been out of the game for how long? That's got to feel good. People notice you all the time in Laramie.
It's fun. I don't like. It is fun. It's awkward talking about that, but
sure.
Do you take your own beer to tailgate?
I do because I'm not. I do because I'm not the Coors Light loving guy. I like the craft beer stuff, but it's fun. The amount of people that I've met just from playing and from Cowboy Joe and being able to walk the tailgate and do it. I've met so many cool people that I have made friends for life, and I think that if you really love Laramie, you're going to stick around and be that and do that, and guys will come back. And there have been a few guys that have come back for football games, whatever, and all that. But this notion that these guys are not loyal to the university, we can't go in every year thinking that, every single person on the roster is going to – they bleed it. They don't. They are, they're there for a year. They are not there to live. They're there to play basketball. And I hate to say it, some guys see it as a stepping stone. If you have the right situation, you'll stay forever, but you'll stay till you're done.
Talk about loyalty. Coaches aren't loyal to the universities.
That's
Athletic directors aren't loyal to the universities. Presidents aren't loyal.
No.
So why do the players have to be so-called loyal? That's why the portal was put in. It was because they needed somewhat of a say in what they could do because coaches were leaving. Some coaches were hired on one day and left the next day to go to another school.
I mean, I could prod Papa Shy about it because he was here for a year. He kind of told everyone if his dream job opened up, which it did, he would leave, but he was only here for a year. How do you expect guys to be recruited by him, come in, and then stick around for another 4 years after he's gone?
That's a great point. I mean, does Josh Davis stick around and hang for McLean? Does that team stick together? Does that team end up being what they became? I don't know. It's a good question, but I mean, the word loyalty has been a trigger word. Linder has brought it up in every single press conference for the last month. Let's be real. Since the California guys left, he's brought that up in every single press conference. And he hasn't said anything about them specifically, but you can read through the lines. He has made no bones about his feelings on all of it. But loyalty's like we've been talking about. It's a pipe dream. We hate it. Don't get me wrong. We all hate it. We all want it. But like I wrote in my column yesterday, every 8-year-old girl wants a pony as well. It just is not reality anymore, and that's all there is to it. And guys have to chill. And our old school fan base is so effing maddening. I mean, it just is. It's maddening as hell to read this. Like, I see guys, intelligent guys, say, these guys need to pay back their scholarships. Give me a gigantic break, would you please?
And I am very much on that side too.
Yep.
When they started the NIL thing, I'm not bitter about, I played at a different era and I didn't get any of that money. That's not how I view it. I'm of the old school mentality of I got my school paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And
you probably would have been stoked to see play yourself on a video game. Ed O'Bannon screwed that for you.
I don't know if I can comment on it, but I was part of the lot that week. I got money from the NCAA for that.
Really?
Whatever. And I was on NCAA 08 or 09.
That had to be the biggest thrill of your young life.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that.
How much money did the NCAA give you?
Not a lot. It wasn't
$6.99.
Yeah, it wasn't very much. It was not very much.
See this coffee he has right here?
You got a $7 check like you do from your
Actually,
grandma.
if it was one of those, you never cash it. You just frame it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But no, a lot of these guys are not going to go pro.
Yep.
They are not going to make money playing basketball after they get done with college. And that has been so lost in this NIL stuff. I wonder how many guys out there I guess it's fairly new, are going to sign these big NIL deals. That money's going to dry up, and then they're going to be done. And they didn't take school very seriously, so then what?
Yeah.
But school was paid for.
Right.
So, I am very much of the old school notion of, you're getting your school paid for.
Well, and I don't know your background, Adam, but we always hear, I didn't even have enough money to buy a pizza. I mean, was that your life?
We had a small stipend, and it went quick, especially after you paid rent. Mm-hmm. The team would do a lot of meals for you, but on the weekends you're on your own. In the off season you're on your own. When you're not in season, you're paying for everything else, and it goes quick. It was not a lot.
You bring that up. Don't even have money for a pizza. That was the player from UConn said that in a press conference, which started this whole mess.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
And when he said that, it was like unbelievable that he would even say that. Playing at a Big East school, you are on a private jet everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. You are eating at 5-star steakhouses the night before the game, and you're eating most likely your favorite fast food after a game, which a lot of guys now, I'm sure it's Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, whatever it may be. Yep. But it's like, why would that even come out of your mouth? You wouldn't be eating this good if you were at home.
Well, what if you were a normal college kid?
That's
just a normal Joe Blow kid going to school.
That's paying their own tuition.
Yeah.
That's something too is, a lot of the guys who come by themselves. I'm from Wyoming, so I had a lot of friends that came from Cody and knew them. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys don't. They hang with the team. They hang with their teammates. I hung with both my teammates and my friends from Cody and other, I met other people.
Well, let's be real too. It's a lot of black kids that are from the inner city that you guys probably have to be tight as a basketball team anyway.
You do.
Because there's not no other black kids on campus, basically.
Definitely. But I'm around other kids that had to pay for their schooling. They weren't on a scholarship. Mm-hmm. And so that you do think about that too, my parents aren't able to help me out with school. I'm having to do this by myself, and that it makes you look at it differently, I think.
Yeah. So with the whole transfer portal thing, imagine, Adam, when you played, that if they had the transfer portal. I mean, you already said some guys left anyway. I mean, how bad could it have been back then? And even as a Wyoming kid, is it something you would have ever thought about? Or do you like to have that option?
I think it feels good to have the option.
Do you think this is overall a good thing for student athletes? I guess is the way to go about it.
I do and I don't. Mm-hmm. I do because not every situation is going to work out. A coach and a player before the player gets to college is only going to have the relationship of talking to a coach on the phone a few times, texting back and forth a little bit. Until they get on campus, they have no idea how that person's going to react, how the player is going to react to where they're at. They don't know them deep down. And when they get on campus, it's a whole new ball game. Some people change, and it becomes a bad relationship, and it snowballs, and they're unhappy, and it just becomes this huge thing. And, for some of those guys who I played with who did leave, it was good that they left, but they did have to go somewhere and sit out a year. Mm-hmm. They had to sit. They couldn't play immediately, and we had guys that came in and they had to sit. And being able to play right away, it is enticing. I feel like when guys have a bad week in practice and maybe coach did get on them and it was a cussing match back and forth, they're immediately now thinking, my name's in the portal, I'm out. Mm-hmm. See ya. But back then, it made you think about it. It made you pause for a second instead of immediately acting quick. Mm-hmm. And like you said yesterday in your article, we're in the society of guys can get immediate gratification to go somewhere else and change their situation, when sometimes staying and going through the hardship of what they're going through can be way more beneficial to them as a player and as a person.
Right. Do you like it, Jared?
Kind of like with Adam. I like certain aspects of it, but it's gotten out of control. And the NCAA, it was a knee-jerk reaction that they thought that had to be taken care of overnight instead of really thinking through the process.
Coming up with some rules, maybe.
Exactly. And it's open season right now. And when you have Nick Saban talking out against it,
yeah,
I think you know that there's probably a problem.
Yeah. So to me, it sounds like if you simply add in the rule, which I don't know if the toothpaste can ever go back in the tube, but if you can add in you can still transfer, but you're going to have to sit out a year. I think that could neutralize the NIL stuff. That could do a lot of stuff, and it could make guys think twice. And I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever go back to that way, but I like the idea of guys getting paid. If you can market yourself, I think Josh Allen would have made a ton of money here. I think Graham Ike could potentially make some money here. That's fine. I mean, make some money. That's cool. I don't care if you get from a private entity, as long as the university doesn't have to start paying you a monthly salary, because that's going to kill. I mean, that would just hurt so many programs. But if you're getting it elsewhere outside, like you're on a billboard or something, awesome. Have a ball, man. But to me, if you get that year back in there, that's going to change a lot of minds.
I mean, within like 2 years, it went from current student athletes couldn't be used in a photo that had a corporate logo on it in a game program, mm-hmm. to now they can be on a billboard
with their jersey.
Exactly. It's almost insane how quickly it went to that.
Yeah. So, Adam, let's talk about the real elephant in the room here, which is, like you mentioned, the column I wrote yesterday. I've talked to a lot of sources. Of course, people aren't crazy about going on the record for things like this, and they never will be. And you understand why. Mm-hmm. Talked to a lot of the people in California that had to do with Ethan Anderson and Ogbong Polo and Kyman, all of them off the record. You get it, because they still have a future to worry about, and they don't want to look like they're crying over spilled milk and worry and possibly ruin their future, opportunities. And then Linder doesn't want to look like a jerk by throwing a bunch of kids under the bus and saying stuff about them. So you're going to hear stuff from sources. And basically what it gets down to, I've heard it from sources in California, I've heard it from sources in Wyoming. Linder's a tough SOB, and he'll be the first one to admit it to you. And he's told us, he went on a unprompted rant after the Nevada game this year, talking about loyalty and talking about I'm not going to change and I'm not for everybody and I can look at myself in the mirror and know what kind of coach I am. He's been a tough SOB. That's all there is to it. And now with the instant gratification you talked about, there's got to be – we saw it with Craig Bowl, and that's what my whole column was about. We saw him, and he doubled down too and was like, I asked him straight up, did you ask any of these guys to stay or invite them into your office and ask him, like, why are you leaving? No. Hell no. Like, looked at me like I was crazy for saying that. And he said, maybe some of my assistants did, but I sure didn't. And you don't want to ride for the brand, and you don't want to blah, blah, blah. And And it's just, you can't do it. And 2 months later, he changed his tune. He looked in the mirror, he said, he realized he was too tough and he was too much of an asshole. And that's the thing, like, you can be tough, and he's still tough. Mm-hmm. He's still tough, he's still demanding. But when you're a jerk on top of that, that's a recipe for disaster, just like I wrote. How you said you said screaming matches and cursing out matches and stuff like that. Nowadays, guys can just say, see you later. And I'm sure that's a lot of what is happening right now in Larrabee.
I've only been around Coach Linder a handful of times away from watching him and being in the gym. But from my experience, I went through 3 different coaches, kind of recruited by McLean, played for Schroyer, and played for Chiat. All 3 of them would, except for McLean, I've been mother effed up and down the court by Schroyer and Chiat. Mm-hmm. But when you step outside the lines, there is genuine love that they do have for their guys. They want you to be successful as a human. They preach it constantly. It's a constant good cop, bad cop from the assistant coaches and him, and they know that. Mm-hmm. They know that. So my experience with that comes from a harsher background. My high school coach, he kind of prepared me. He was a hard guy to play for, but he expected a lot from you. But if I didn't have him, I would have never played in college. It's because I got mother effed up and down the court. Mm-hmm. I saw, at the time, I got kicked out of practice when I was a senior at the week we were going to regionals because I had a poor attitude. He wasn't having it. Kicked me out. Mm-hmm. I was mad. Went to the locker room. Assistant came and got me. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have been the guy I am today. Right. But I didn't get to transfer out. He came, I didn't get to pout about it. It wasn't, it made me stronger. Mm-hmm. It built me. And I feel like, I don't know the exact situations of some of these guys, but I think that if they would just sit down and look at their situation a little better and see, the roses and the grass might not be always greener on the other side, they could have a different view, but it is a different generation.
Can you coach like that anymore?
I don't think you can.
I think Tom Izzo's probably the last one left. He just grabbed a guy by the arm 2 years ago at the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And boy, did he get chastised for that. And he's been really calm and cool and collected since. I think we saw Jim Boeheim just leave. That's a dying breed.
It really is. It really is.
Linder's still young enough he can turn it around. I mean, there's no bones about it. Everybody I've talked to said, oh, my God, like he would peel paint. And it's just, you can't. Maybe you need to just take a step back and you can still be that tough guy and you can still be demanding. He wants guys that want to be coached and guys who want to be told the truth. Maybe you got to lighten how you're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. You might have to, or we're going to go through the same thing every single year. And maybe we would have lost guys last year from Laramie if they weren't winning and they didn't know that, everybody and their mother thought they'd be in the NCAA tournament right now. So maybe that was their thinking going out of last year, going, hey, I'll put up with them because we're going to cut down some nets.
And Adam, you obviously had thick enough skin to understand that it did make you a better player. Yeah, does it suck getting yelled at and being MF'd up and down the court, like you said, and being, maybe you were called names too, who knows, but it made you a better player in the long run.
I knew that if I put my head down and went to work and did my job, at least played hard, that he wasn't going to do that. Mm-hmm. He was going to respect you and he's going to praise you and what you want. It comes with the hard work. It comes with not being vocal towards coach. It comes with, I hate the word, complying with what he's trying to do, and that's, I have had lots of conversations about the 3 guys who came in from California. It's awesome they were at big schools. That's so cool. They were recruited by big schools, but they came to Wyoming for a reason. You always have to think of that. And it just takes a few guys to kind of change how you are coached, how the team dynamic works, how everything works.
So, like, if they're screwing up, coach is going to make – it's like if somebody screws up and the whole team has to run.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to continue to go against the grain and continue to go against the grain, then it wears on coach, and then he's on other guys, and then it's
you lose EK. And
yeah,
then
I mean it was a snowball. I feel like this year it really was, and I honestly it was very, very cool to see that once those guys left, and I don't know them, so I'll say whatever I want about it. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Once those guys left, the team seemed to play harder, play together, and I mean, we went to the pit and won.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the pit and won. I never got to do that. Mm-hmm. We got killed every single time.
And you know what else changed? Was Linder's demeanor on the sideline.
It was a little
Jared
different.
and I talked about it before. We saw guys smile. We haven't seen guys smile all year.
He was a different person on the sideline all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So he probably got on those guys. I could see that happening, and probably said, "Get the heck out of town." Mm-hmm. And if he said that, great. As a former player and now as a fan, I want him out because I know what they can do to the team. I know how bad it can be. I know how going to practice every day, you know that it's just going to be a slog and it's not going to be fun and it's going to be coach in a bad mood, and these guys are going to continue to go against the grain and continue to talk back or continue to not do what he's asking you to do. It seemed like when they left, it was a different team, which was very encouraging. And it was a lot more exciting to watch towards the end once those guys left.
Well, and fans would say, why isn't Max getting off the bench? Why haven't you asked Linder why Max isn't getting off the bench? And I'm like, I have. And there's obviously a reason. Do we need to get into it? I mean, obviously he's not doing what he's being asked to do. Period.
The whole time, I mean, what a talented guy.
Yeah.
Very talented player. And my wife's sitting there asking me, why isn't he playing? Why isn't he playing? And it's like he's in the doghouse somehow. And there's a reason why coach either does not like him at all or he just cannot trust him. He can't trust him to be out there. Yeah, he can go out and dunk on people and do all this cool stuff and make it look cool and maybe we're dunk town again or something. If he's not playing defense or if he's messing up in practice, there's a reason why he's not playing.
Well, we saw Jeff Linder that very first year he got here bench Marcus Williams with Boise State coming to town. That's him facing his former head coach, or, the guy he worked under all those years in Boise. You know that game meant a lot to him. Marcus Williams was by far the best player on that team that year at that time, and he benched him. And then he flat out, of course, that's our first question after the game, like, why didn't Marcus Williams play? And he's like, you know what? The best teacher I've ever had in my life is the bench. And if you aren't going to do what I tell you to do, then you're going to sit on the damn bench. And Wyoming got boat raced. And if you remember, Wyoming didn't have a bench because of COVID.
Yeah.
They didn't have a bench. And he benched him at the Mountain West tournament, too.
Against San Diego State.
Yeah, he was not doing what he asked, which was walking the ball up the court, wasting as much time on the shot clock as humanly possible, because that's the only way they had a shot in hell of beating the Aztecs.
And then when they did put him back in, he took the shot at the end.
Yep. Thanks for reminding me of that. So something I learned, Adam, and you can speak to this more than either of us can, but I consider myself very lucky, very blessed that I was able to cover Tom Izzo for 2 seasons. And he would let us watch practice. And he basically would say, if you tweet anything, I'll kill you. You put anything on Facebook, I'll kill you. You put anything in your story, I'll definitely murder you. But we would listen to it, and he was downright brutal. I mean, kicking guys out of practice left and right, calling them every name in the book. But what he was getting at, and he would tell us often, was, I want a player-led team. I want to sit and watch practice right along with you guys and say the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. But obviously, you heard me screaming and yelling all day long. They are not taking the initiative to be those guys.
Yeah.
Is that a big issue, too, that possibly Linder's running into?
Maybe.
Especially without EK, because that changed the whole game plan, right?
No question.
Yeah.
When you look at the 1-2 punch of Maldo and EK, the guys they fit around that. They knew their role, and you could see that. Odin knew his role. He needed to go in and be explosive. Ducell needed to come in and hit big shots. Reynolds needed to come in and hit big shots. I think that when you kind of lose that and you don't have that leadership, it can turn into, coach has to get involved in practice. Mm-hmm. He does have to do that. Towards the end of most seasons, coach is sitting there watching practice.
I was going to ask
you that. It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
By the time you're playing the end of conference, coach is watching because it's really more you're preparing for the next team. You're not trying to create that bond between everyone or the leadership. So
fundamentals.
Yeah. I'm actually really jealous you got to sit and watch Izzo through all that, because he's one of the coaches I would have loved to have played for. And but yeah, to your point, it is. Every coach wants the senior leadership. I think Maldo towards the end can only do so much. He was also, I think, playing with a few injuries. And
I think I was kind of unfair to Maldo in my own head, not in my writing, but I was kind of like, if you're this unbelievable leader that we've been told you are, how have you let this go off the rails so badly? But like you said, there's only so much you can do.
There's only so much you can do. And I think EK did help him a lot last year, big time. I mean, to be able to pass it in, you're not getting double teamed. They had to respect, you either have to take one away. When you take one away, the other guy's, there, and you can only game plan so well.
Well, in the first 6 to probably 10 games of the season, you saw a different style of play from Maldo. And he wasn't as effective.
No.
And then when they figured out, well, we need to go back to the old ways and start it, and then all of a sudden Maldo was a different player again. And then he just continued to get better and back to the same player he was a year ago. And that was evident the last game of his career.
What a special player he was. I personally feel like I didn't ever give him enough credit for what we actually witnessed, and it's a dying breed, no doubt about it.
And I think a lot of it was the amount of turnovers he had at some certain times of games. Is like, how did you just dribble that off your knee or your foot?
He did that right in front of us in Dayton.
And a lot of the times it's because he's so damn tired.
Yeah. So for me, I don't think I gave him enough credit, and it's not like I want prima donnas or anything like that. He just was so unemotional and so robotic. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. He's just go to work. And he wasn't like, he wouldn't dunk in your face and scream in your face and stuff like that like we like to see. I mean, let's be real. We'd like to see that kind of stuff. The only time I saw emotion out of him is when he picked up his 5th foul in Las Vegas and he lost his mind. I have never, ever in my life seen him look like that.
He went off on Eric Curry.
He was so pissed.
He said, "You effing cost me," like 5 times to Eric Curry's face, like closer than you and me. And Eric Curry just was like, "Just go sit down."
Good luck to Eric. Thankfully for him that he knew the situation, that was the last game he ever played in.
I do respect Linder for the senior night as well, his comment about, I'm leaving with him. Which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's Maldo is a special player. I think we need to put an asterisk next to a lot of his stats, because give me 6 years and I'd love to keep playing.
That's a former player for you right there.
But no, incredible player. Wyoming will miss him a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Linder talked about, Maldo talked about Linder in that press conference after New Mexico and Las Vegas, and a lot of fans, I think, took it the wrong way, where they're like, see, Maldonado said that he loves Linder and that there's no problem. But if you really read that quote, what he's getting at is, I'm mature. I see the forest through the trees. I know that I have a future ahead of me. I know he made me a better player. But yes, he said he's easy to play for, quote unquote, because he's all about the right things, and Maldo is all about the right things. But if you read through in that quote, he's saying, this guy eats nails for breakfast. He's tough as hell, and I got to keep my teammates up, and we got to learn to not take shit personally.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, that's what he said. He said right straight up that Linder's tough as hell, and he called this generation soft. He said that in his quote. So, is what it is. But guys, to me, we can all say the sky is falling right now, and maybe it does feel that way a little bit, and I don't blame those who think so. But really, it all, to me, depends on what number 33 is going to do. If 33 is back, they have 8 available scholarships, and I tend to believe that Linder knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to this. And can you imagine going out on the recruiting trail, which I'm sure Linder's doing right as we speak, and he's saying, hey, we're not, just because we lost these dudes doesn't mean I think they're in the title picture again if they get a couple of nice pieces, Ducell stays, Foster's healthy, Powell continues to develop under EK, against EK in practice, which he wasn't able to do all year, by the way.
Yeah, could you imagine what he would have learned playing defense against him all year long?
Yeah. I'd like him a lot.
But am I crazy to think the Cowboys can be right back in this title conversation if they land a couple of nice pieces and Graham EK's back in the mix?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you're right. I still have Yes.
Definitely top 5.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. If EK is there, which I hope he does, I hope he sticks around, I think we can be right there. It is going to take, Coach Bull kind of finally embraced the transfer portal a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to do that this year. And
I don't think that should scare you off, the 3 guys. Maybe don't be doing package deals anymore.
And I don't know the story about the high school guy out of California who committed and decommitted.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably know each other, those guys who left.
Or their AAU coaches.
Yes.
Club
I'm sure
coaches,
there
whatever.
was some talking there.
And you can see on Twitter there's plenty of talking there.
Yes. But I think if everyone else is going to play the game right along with them.
Mm-hmm.
Go find the guy that you think you can make better and is going to fit your scheme and your style. And if EK stays, that is a selling point to a lot of guys.
You mentioned something earlier before we came on, Adam. Why would EK not already be in the portal if he was going to be in the portal?
I don't know what would be holding him back at this point after all these guys have left. After he didn't really play at all this year, he had how many opportunities? I mean, I'm sure schools have probably reached out to him throughout the year.
Yeah, guaranteed.
I really don't understand why he wouldn't have said anything unless he's waiting for the right opportunity, but the time has been there. So if he's going to do it, he needs to do it so that the coaching staff and we can move on and
The
figure
fans
it out.
can move
yes,
on.
because we're all waiting on bated breath.
Yeah.
What I hope is he comes out and he says, I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
My only thought on this is that the portal's open for 60 days.
Yep.
You don't have to rush into it. The people who are rushing into it want to get the hell out of wherever they're at in a hurry and get their name out there because they think it's going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. But with EK, he's only probably has a handful of schools, if it's already in his mind that he's leaving, that he's going to go to. Those schools are probably playing in the NCAA tournament right now, so it doesn't no good to be in the portal and being bothered by everybody, being offered by every school that's not.
That's exactly what I was going to say. All the good teams that an EK would want to go to are still playing basketball. It makes sense to me. But you're right. He's got to.
There's also a huge question mark with his injury.
Right.
I mean, there really is.
Right.
We don't know how bad it is. We also know if he has not played for now an entire year at that. Well, I guess he had a good offseason. I'm sure last year I got to see him scrimmage here, but now he hasn't played for a whole season at game speed. That can play into it too. He for another team, he might not be the guy that he was a year ago. Like, you just got to have that in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like NBA free agency, where if a player is going somewhere, they have to go pass a physical. It's kind of like a player that's in the transfer portal now that has a known injury.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to take a risk, a floater on somebody saying, hey, well, are you healthy? Well, yeah, of course I am. Gets there, well, he's going to require off-season surgery or whatever.
Yeah. And they're going to make you get surgery.
Exactly.
And me being the Wyoming guy at Wyoming, I do sit here and be like, why wouldn't you just stay and be the guy? You could be the guy.
And you can get where you want to go
exactly. You can. And, yeah.
And sure. I think he's proven that he's not about the NIL money.
Yeah. We talked about it before. He doesn't even have a car. Any car dealerships listening out there, he doesn't even have a car.
So I don't think that is important to him. He's close to home. He's close to his family down in Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah.
I just think it's the injury thing is really what is holding up everything right now.
What about this? What if he's not coming back to college, period? I mean, he could be going to Europe. He could be.
I would say his resume from last year is good enough to go do that. But it is going to be the physical. I mean, it's a team for you to make money like that. And you said Aurora. It scares me if we have,
Aurora scares you?
No, but CU. I mean, if he wants to get closer to,
his uncle was a star there too.
See,
Daniel
we've talked about this
with
too.
Dion there.
Tad Boyle and Jeff Linder are really good friends.
Yeah.
I don't know if Boyle would do that.
Good point. That's a good point.
Not that he's not a jerk for not playing Wyoming anymore, because Tad Boyle is a jerk.
I was part of that, by the way. I was
Yes,
part of.
you were. The at CU game
Yeah.
was the big one.
I was drunk there. I was
Hey,
there. I
what?
was there. Yeah.
You?
Yeah. I know. Crazy.
Hey, it was called the Coors Event Center then.
It sure was. And
Maybe it still is. I don't know.
I helped put that sign on the roof.
It's probably called New Belgium Event Center now or something.
We hadn't won an away game in 2 years, and we finally went in to see you.
If I remember right, that was kind of an ass whipping too.
It was close. I think we won by like 12.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah,
That's an ass whooping on the road.
On the road,
Yeah,
but it felt so good. It felt so good.
Yeah, so he's obviously kind of holding the wild card here, I think, for the Cowboys. But, these three guys that are gone, what are your thoughts on, we saw Odin really played pretty damn well there down the stretch. Noah Reynolds, I think, had star written all over him. He showed flashes last year. I think Jared and I even talked about it in Dayton. We were kind of shocked he never got off the bench, especially when Maldo was turning it over so much and was not slowing it down and chilling out. And I asked Linder about that this offseason. Like, did you ever think about saying, come sit next to me, let's take a blow, you're moving too damn fast, you don't need to move this fast, and put Reynolds in, and you're getting Reynolds some minutes in an NCAA tournament game. That didn't happen. Reynolds never played. What Linder told me is, hey, you dance with who brung you. Can't really argue with that, I suppose. But Reynolds had star written all over him. Nate Barnhart, nothing against him by any means, but no loss, in my opinion, there whatsoever.
I think he could have been.
You think?
I think because he was a redshirt freshman this year. I think
I shouldn't be so harsh on him.
Put some meat on the bones,
yeah.
and he came in and gave us good minutes. Not bad.
Played really well at Air Force.
Air Force, he had a really good game at Air Force.
So, yeah, I think he could have been. And what he gave us, which we've had the past few years, is length and size, which is nice.
But speaking of that, you're 7 foot tall and you're losing the rebounding battle and losing at Air Force? How the hell is that even possible?
I want to bring something up. This is on the recruiting trail, that is. So if fans are saying that these players are coming in, they hate Laramie, they want to get somewhere where there's palm trees and sun and warmth, do you think that this staff would go overseas and get some Euro players? I mean, it's worked, or even Australia, it's worked for the Cowgirls year in and year out.
It used to work for Utah year in and year out.
New Mexico.
These ladies come sight unseen. They come in, play 4 years, get their degree, and some of them go back to Europe and play professional ball, or Australia. But I know there's so many European players out there, and I guess if we had Fran Frascilla's number, we should dial it up because he's the guy that knows everything about the European players. But I wonder if there's an opportunity there.
I think there could be. The one thing that Europe has is other pro leagues, though. And so you really are, I guess it's kind of the priority of the player over there in Europe, because we had guys like Arthur Buedo and I think Amat. They played professionally before they came over. They had to sit.
Then they played at prep schools in the States, and then came to college.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a special kind of player because those opportunities are there. But that being said, there is a market over there for foreign players, I guess.
Or even Canada.
Yeah.
Mexico.
Wasn't the former number 1 overall pick, that Anthony kid at UNLV, wasn't he a Canadian?
He was from Canada, yep.
Yeah.
And Paco Cruz, who I played with, he was from Mexico. Mm-hmm. Still playing on the Mexican national team, doing very well.
You got to tell us that story about, speaking of coaches being mean, coach yelling at the Belgian kid.
Oh, yeah. Schroyer used to
say what you want here.
Schroyer used to tell McHale he'll send him back on the boat to Belgium with as many Belgian waffles and syrup as he wants anytime he would mess up in practice. But to McHale's credit, he sat there and took it, and he did transfer out eventually, but he got a lot out of McHale by doing that.
Do you still talk to Heath?
You know, I'll tell a story about Heath. Okay. Me and Heath had a good relationship. I know a lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people. We always had a great relationship. I have nothing against Coach Schroyer. I know why he left. I know what happened. I saw it all from a third person perspective. But the one thing I do regret big time, and if I could ever, I don't have his number, but if I could, when he left, he said, make sure I get an invitation to your wedding. And I didn't send him an invitation to my wedding. It's one of the biggest things I regret. But I don't keep in contact with him. I think he's a great guy. I know that he's AD at McNeese, and they just hired
Will Wade.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at here.
Yep.
I mean, what is he thinking hiring Will Wade? And then he, like the day later, well, we're going to put him on a 5-game suspension just for goodwill, just to make sure the NCAA knows that we know what he's going through.
But look at the opportunity, though.
Oh, I don't disagree with
I think
that.
that's what he's going for.
These retread coaches in college is getting like the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, Chris Beard, he was fired 2 months ago for domestic abuse allegations. There was none found there.
Yep.
The charges were dropped.
Enough for Texas to send him packing.
Yes. And then he's hired at Ole Miss. And somebody brought up the motto of the SEC at the basketball tournament, it just means more.
Yeah.
Somebody said that. Oh, the SEC just means more, and put a horns down thing on Twitter.
Well, what? Patino's been hired. Beard's been hired.
And speaking of Patino, he's probably going to go to St. John's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Look at the Mountain West.
Well, no, I'm talking football in the SEC.
Hmm.
Patino, I'm screwing that up. Petrino. Sorry, Petrino.
Yeah.
They've had 3 hires in the SEC of late that are just like, what are you doing? Guys that have been in trouble, guys that are bad news, and they're just, it just means more.
And to me, I'm watching Nevada last night, and it looks, I can't see Steve Alford on the sidelines and see him in that color and not think he should be in red, wearing red, because he was at New Mexico when I was playing. Mm-hmm. Tim Miles was down south at CSU, and now he's actually done a great job.
He's
up for National Coach of the Year.
Fantastic
and
job.
It's weird to see those guys when, you see them in other colors.
And Neil's on his staff too.
That's right.
At Nevada.
That's right.
I don't know where they go from here, guys. I don't know where basketball goes. To me, it's all about 33, what he's going to do, what he's going to decide. All I know is I cornered Tom Berman in Las Vegas and said, is he coming back? And he said, I fully expect Graham Ike to be a Cowboy next year. He's the athletic director. He said he hasn't heard anything else. I don't know why Tom would offer that up to me if he didn't really feel that. I feel like he might have just said, I don't know. We're all going to find out together, which would have scared the hell out of everybody even more. But to me, it's like, is anybody reading? Because everybody says, well, EK's next. Well, the athletic director said that he feels like he's coming back.
I mean, Adam, you and I both have worked for Tom. He tells it as it is, too. He doesn't really hold his cards too close to his vest.
Yeah.
So take his word for it right now, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe he
things
doesn't
can
know
change,
anything.
obviously, but yeah. So I think everything really relies on him. Does it suck to lose Noah? Yeah, I think Noah's a big loss. I think J.O., I don't think J.O. ever even scratched the surface of the potential that guy really had. Started to find his three-point shot this year, which was a nice change too. But, man, his explosiveness, you feel like every time he blows through and goes to the hoop, you feel like he can do that every time down the court and just doesn't. Maybe I'm crazy, but I always felt like, man, why isn't this guy doing this all the time? But I talked to a buddy. Did you play with Justin Williams, or was he right before you?
Right before me.
So I thought of a guy like, same body type, stuff like that. Justin Williams would kill Jeremiah Oden. Imagine them on a schoolyard.
No.
Justin Williams was a dog.
You talking on the basketball court or in a fight?
Both. And that's nothing against
Jeremiah. He's a little thin.
Kill all of us.
Justin had some guns on him.
He was tough, man. But you think about just a dog that had the mentality. Like, those guys aren't hanging off trees, obviously.
What a shot block. He's the last great shot blocker Wyoming's had.
Yeah.
Yep. He really is.
Oh, he's the all-time leader.
Theo is.
Is Theo still?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's the single season.
Yeah.
Single season. That's right. But he was only here 3 years. Dude did some serious damage. But we were talking about that yesterday, that they kind of have similar body type and kind of similar explosion. But Justin just was, he was mean, man.
He was.
He was a dog. Let's talk about the good news that semi came out of Laramie this week. A lot of Wyoming safeties are getting paid in the NFL. And it's nice to see Wyoming maybe safety you. You know, you can go back to Chris Brzezinski and John Windling. You can go all the way back to Aaron Kyle, man. They've had some dudes. Even Trick Gamble had a cup of coffee in the NFL.
He was a potential Pro Bowler on special teams.
Yeah. And shoot, I will die on this hill if Vic Honing doesn't screw around with Al Rich and put him at running back.
Yep.
I think fully Al Rich is the guy we're talking about who probably played in the league.
Totally agree with you there.
So Andrew Wingert getting paid by the Jags. I know you've looked into this stuff. Tashawn Gibson, that guy just won't go away, man, and he's just playing at an unbelievable level still to this day. And good for Marcus Epps. Of course, you know, the walk-on situation. Adam and I have got to know Marcus. I believe Marcus's girlfriend is from Cody, so he's always at the celebrity for a cause thing.
Just saw on Twitter that the Raiders made it official today. They tweeted him signing his deal.
Awesome. He's making some real scratch.
Yeah.
he's doing fine. So what were you looking at? You were looking at numbers for these dudes?
Well, yeah. So actually, I have followed Mark Nzacha on Twitter for a while. Then I saw that all of a sudden a bunch of homes started coming up on his Twitter feed. So he's now a realtor in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. Mm-hmm. And they're not just your normal homes. These are high-end homes. They're pretty cool, actually. But I just I wonder how much he made in the league. So I went to this website, and actually anybody can go there. It is called sporttrack.com, and track is spelled with just a C, no K. And you can type in anybody's name. And I don't know how far it goes back, but it does go back through Wendling. I did just type his name in to see if he was in there. So it goes back to the early 2000s at least. And Mark Nzacha played a total of 9 seasons in the league.
Wow.
Or excuse me, 6 seasons total. 6 seasons. 3 with San Fran and 3 with Dallas. He made 4.5.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much just a special teams guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to start looking into these other players. Tashawn Gibson. $42.7 million with his new contract that he just got the other day.
Which was probably one of his smaller contracts he's actually gotten.
He signed a big one
with Jacksonville,
I want to say it was
right?
4 years ago, yeah.
After he's a Pro Bowler in Cleveland.
And he's played for 5 teams.
Yeah.
Then we go over to Dewey, Andrew Wingard. Up to this season, he made $4.7 million. With his new deal, he's going to make not guaranteed, but he's going to make $11 million, and then it could be even more than that if he makes certain incentives.
13.8, I want to say.
Yeah. So I mean, by the end of 2025, he's going to make over $14 million in his career.
Guys, make that check payable to Cowboy Joe Club.
Or the Wyoming Collective for Student Athlete, whatever they're going to call that.
Yeah, there you go.
A new west side of our football stadium.
Yeah, new press box.
That's coming.
Dewey.
That's coming.
I know it is.
I guess you can throw a swimming pool into it if you want.
That's under construction too, I believe. Marcus Epps, with his new deal, up to this year, he had only made $3.1 million. Starting and playing that well on a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
And his new deal is $12 million, so he's going to be $15 million by the end of this next 2-year contract with the Raiders.
It's awesome.
Logan Wilson.
Who hasn't gotten paid yet.
No. I mean, he's made 3.8 in 3 seasons.
Think about that draft class for the Bengals, though. What are they going to do? Is Logan a guy who could potentially get franchise tagged? They're going to have to pay T. Higgins. They're going to have to pay Burrow a boatload.
Yeah.
So what does that leave?
Burrow was a year after Logan, though, right?
They all went together.
They did go.
I think they really like Logan, though. I think they really like him there.
Well, he's
so I
a
think
captain, so.
Yeah.
They better
exactly,
love him.
Exactly. I think.
But how are they going to afford all of
Yeah.
this?
This season alone, he's bound to make 2.7.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they restructure his deal before the season starts, kind of like they did Josh before his 4th season.
Well, yeah, he's still on his rookie deal.
Yep. So, speaking of Josh.
Josh, do you have $1 million in your couch cushion that we could borrow at UW?
It's just in his wallet. $85 million through the end of last season he had made already.
And that's what he's made through the NFL.
Yeah.
Not Nike,
no
not
endorses.
Buffalo Wild Wings, not Gillette.
If he sees his full contract out through 2028, $302.6 million. And,
can we make it $2 million?
Yeah.
And the majority, there is a lot of that new contract that's guaranteed.
And he just restructured to help
Get some players.
Yeah.
Yep. So those are the guys I looked up, and you can go in there and look up baseball. You can look up basketball, everything like that. So it's just got me thinking about that. And I'm like, holy cow.
That is interesting. Good for them, man. The thing I noticed, there's 10 current Wyoming players in the NFL right now. 8 of them Craig Bowl guys. Pretty good.
That is pretty good.
We talk all the time, and this actually triggered Craig pretty hard last year in Vegas. Like Craig, they always say that that's the hard part of being the head coach at Wyoming, is recruiting. You're having no issues there. Like, 0 issues recruiting. Maybe at the quarterback spot. But other than that, 0. How in the hell are you not winning? How have you not hung a banner? How does this not happen? And he was not thrilled to hear that whatsoever. But it's true.
Well, and if you look at these 6 players that I just talked about, Inzacha wasn't highly recruited. He was from Germany.
Germany, yeah. Him and his brother, yeah.
Deshaun Gibson came to Wyoming because his brother was playing.
Yeah.
And he wasn't highly recruited, or he wouldn't have came to Wyoming.
How did Wyoming miss out on their little brother that ran for 7,000 yards against Wyoming?
The change in coaching staffs hurt there.
Yeah.
Wingard wasn't recruited by anybody in the Front Range.
Yeah.
Epps was obviously a walk-on.
CSU offered Logan Wilson to be their place kicker.
Yep.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then Weber State, I think, was his offer, and then maybe an Ivy League school.
I would hope Logan would have never done that.
No.
Even if they recruited him for a linebacker, I would hope he would have said no.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Josh, we all know the story there being one deal. So,
guys, I want to run this by you. I see an interesting conversation, unfortunately, popping up on my Twitter about a guy who said, I will hate Sundance Wicks with a passion if guys go with him.
Welcome to college athletics.
Yeah, do you feel that way at all? I don't. I had a source tell me last night, a very good source tell me that Noah Reynolds is going to Green Bay. Well, Sonny found him in Peoria, Illinois, and gave him the only scholarship offer he had.
That is a lot of the reason these players come, is because of, it's not the head coach sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the assistant that recruits them, and they have the best relationship with that said assistant.
But I don't think these guys are getting into the portal because Sonny's going somewhere else and they have this burning desire to play for the Phoenix of mighty Wisconsin Green Bay, who won 3 games last year.
I mean, I think that should be talked about a little bit, is that relationship with the person who you do. I mean, Coach Vandiver recruited me at Wyoming. I heard from, this was right when you could start getting text messages that the NCAA kind of didn't know how to handle it. So they were like, oh, you can do 20 text messages at this point in time of the year. And then they just went free for all finally. And I heard from them every single day. Let me know when you're ready to be a Cowboy. Let me know when you're ready to be a Cowboy. How's your mom? How's your dad? Blah, blah, blah. And you do kind of get to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you get there and you do create a good relationship with them, I could call Coach V up right now, go over and have dinner with him and his wife, and it would be like nothing ever changed. I have that good a relationship with him.
Right.
That is going to happen. So you're going to hate a coach because those guys go with them. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
So are you going to hate Sundance if he comes back in 5 years after turning Green Bay around and becomes a Wyoming head coach?
Yeah, and we'll call that right now that it's going to happen. I feel it.
I like your style.
Speaking of our buddy DJ Elliott, the new linebackers coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, he played for the Cowboys, of course, got his start as a GA under Dana Dimmel. I'm totally blowing the story I'm going to write, but excited for DJ, man, and that's a guy, and I think a lot of Wyoming fans too maybe think of Javon Bonide and what he's doing going up the ranks here, and that one day maybe those guys end up back here. And I know DJ Elliott, when he was here when the 96 team was honored a couple years ago and he came on the show, he said that, he told us in no uncertain terms that at that time he wanted to be Craig Bull's defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a spot where he can go and make a little name for himself here. And
now
come
with a
back
guy
home.
like Brian Hendricks, former Polk, that's on the staff as the
Love it.
DN's coach, that's a great
Love
addition.
it. Love that hire.
Did you guys hear the news about Chancey Williams this week?
He's going
Yeah.
to play at the Grand Ole Opry.
Opry.
That is awesome.
Congratulations, Chancey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, a few things we didn't talk about last week. We wanted to say, condolences to Ryan Thorburn, our colleague, who lost his grandmother, and then, of course, Jeff Linder, who lost his father last week. Tough deal for him. Obviously was not in Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament, and then his father passed away the day after the Cowboys were bounced. And definitely thinking about Jeff, you have to wonder, too, how much that was weighing on him this entire year as well. I don't know how long his dad had been sick for, but I honestly don't even know what happened. I don't feel like we even need to ask that kind of stuff or need to know that kind of stuff unless it's offered up. So definitely thinking about Jeff. That's the thing I want to make clear about Jeff. And you can speak to this more, Adam. I love Jeff Linder. I think he's fantastic. He's been nothing but good to me. I've really appreciated what he's done at this university. Nothing against Alan Edwards, but that place was nothing short of a morgue when he left. There was no juice in that place whatsoever. You didn't feel good about the future, the past, the present, the nothing. And Jeff came in with a breath of fresh air, secured the #1 recruiting class over Zoom calls, brought in Marcus Williams, Graham Ike. Imagine those dudes. By the way, speaking of loyalty, all those guys were supposed to go to UNC.
Yeah.
And they went to Wyoming. So, yeah, there's your loyalty. But what Jeff did is I think he's a very smart coach. We talked about it a little earlier. He X's and O's is no problem with this cat. And we talked about that game in Vegas, slowing it down. There's no way they were going to beat San Diego State toe-to-toe. He changed it up. And that's something where I think we can all share the aggravation with what Craig Bull does not switch it up for who he's playing against and does not change things. And Linder, he'll flat change whoever he's going to play against, whatever gives him the best chance to win. So I think he's a fantastic coach. He's been nothing but a great human being to me, but I don't play for him. So it's a little bit of a different deal, right? I mean, it is what it is. I think he's a great guy. I think he says all the right things about his players, too, in press conferences. I know I had one parent go, I'm stunned to hear what he says about my kid in press conferences because when my kid calls me, he's like, man, I got my ass completely ripped off all week long by coach. And then he comes in and says, how about that guy? He just gives his heart and soul and blah, blah, blah. But he is a good guy. He's passionate. He's a really good guy. I think with my column yesterday, it's more like pump the brakes, have some perspective here. I'm not saying not to be tough, but you got to handle some stuff with kid gloves. You just have to. None of us like that, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't play for the guy.
Yep.
I think as coach, you're going to say those things. And I think that Shy always kept a 2-liter bottle of clear soda, and he filled it with green colored water, and it put a poison sticker on it. And he said, anytime we go into the media or anything like that, he said, don't drink the poison. Don't give them anything that would poison us back. And of course he's going to say those things publicly, but I'm with you. I don't think the sky is falling even after the season we had, even after the guys that left. I think after what he has done the first 2 years, coming in with COVID, the second year, going to the NCAA tournament, the recruits that he has brought in, let's see what he can do. Mm-hmm. Let's not just
he's earned the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, let's not throw the fire. Let's not think the house is burning down yet.
Yeah, unless he's Larry Eustacing it in practice and throwing Diet Coke cans at guys and stuff like that. I mean, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, right?
I agree.
And he had a rough everything started steamrolling, like you said. It all started snowballing, and it turned into a complete nightmare. And this is a year where, in my opinion, flush it, move on. And now, I know it's scary, but I find excitement in the fact he has 8 scholarships to play with.
I do too.
And if 33's back, I think those scholarships are going to go quick, and I think they're going to be coveted in a lot of ways. So, I don't know. Maybe we're nuts, because it sure looks like the sky's falling to everybody else. I guess more good news. Obviously, the Cowgirls are in the WNIT. What a run they had in Las Vegas. Just a solid program, man. They just keep doing their thing, and it works. And I did hear Heather Rizell on radio the other day talking about the problem they have in the Mountain West Conference. I mean, it's a one-bid league, period. And she mentioned that she'd been talking to other coaches around the league. They need to work out their scheduling, figure it out.
Well, some of them play that other teams. Like Wyoming played Gonzaga this year and things like that. They got to beat those teams.
Got to win. And speaking of not winning, I believe the Mountain West is 0 for their last 11 in the NCAA tournament. And last night was hideous. Nevada, I watched the first half. We turned it at halftime, I will say, but Arizona State hit every shot when I looked at the TV.
With former Nevada
players, yeah.
Yeah, Cambridge and Washington. I mean,
yeah.
You know they felt good.
Oh, that had to feel so good. And that is not a great Arizona State team. Mm-mm. Nevada, you have to think, how did they get here? I mean, their resume, Wyoming's resume ended pretty badly last year as well, but not Nevada bad. They came in and lost in Laramie, lost at home to obviously a completely disheveled UNLV team, and then they got worked by San Jose State in the Mountain West tournament. So these teams, and I'm not a conference fan. I hope Boise State gets absolutely annihilated today, but they got to start winning.
Yeah. See, I like to see these teams go in and do well because the narrative of our whole conference is we go to the tournament and we can't do a thing.
Were you shocked to see 4 teams again?
Yeah, especially with the caliber of the teams that didn't get in. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's such a wide open year, I think, this year, but San Diego State has to perform. Boise State has to perform. They do play well against other teams throughout the year, mm-hmm. non-conference, but we got to get to the tournament and do well, or we're going to continue to be this. It's like the Pac-12, you know, in football that just can't get to that spot.
Yeah.
And
no, San Diego State's a team that I mean, they have 8 seniors. They need to make the Sweet 16. They at least need to make it to day 2. They have to. They've been the biggest disappointment to me. And then, you know, Boise State's kind of had a track record of being terrible in the postseason in general. So I hate Boise State so much.
Well, I'm going to head to Denver tomorrow and root for ASU.
You actually going to go to the games?
Got some friends coming up from Phoenix.
How much did that set you back?
We don't need to talk about that.
We do. I don't even know how you got tickets.
How much is a set? You go to a session?
Yeah, you get 2 games.
Did you mortgage the house?
No, hell no. On Ticketmaster and stuff like that, it's $130.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For 2 games?
Yeah, for 2 games.
I can't believe you even got tickets.
Oh, secondary sites, there's so many tickets available.
I remember one of the coolest moments of my life, Wyoming beats Gonzaga. I'm in the basement at my grandma's house with my buddies. We're going completely nuts. We're hammered off our ass, loving life. My grandma comes downstairs and gives me a hug and shakes my hand and puts $500 in my hand. And she's like, "Go to Albuquerque. You need to be there." And I'm like, "Holy cow!" Yeah, this is awesome. Couldn't find a ticket to save my life.
They played in the pit?
In the pit. I called Gonzaga's ticket office. I called Missouri, lost that day too. I called Missouri's ticket office. I was calling any and everybody, and I couldn't help but think, we can go down there, hope like hell. But if we're watching this game across the street somewhere, and I wasn't old enough to be in the bar yet, but if we're watching this game across the street, I'm going to be so depressed. So let's just not even chance it, and we didn't.
They don't do that anymore. I remember they did play in the pit, but they don't play in small venues like that anymore.
No, it's very rare. They're playing in Vegas at T-Mobile for the first and second rounds, and that's 21,000.
Yeah.
Or it might be 19 for basketball or something like that. But the pit's only 14 now, so they're not going to play in those.
They played a national championship in the pit. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine
Salt
the
Lake
atmosphere
City, too.
in there?
Yeah, back in the day. So Cowgirls will take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
The Islanders.
The Islanders were playing last year in Dayton.
They played last night in Dayton. Or
did they?
Tuesday night in Dayton.
Did they?
Yeah, they won. So they get, guess who they get? Bama.
Did you guys happen to see the Bama fans that were walking into the SEC tournament wearing those shirts?
Yeah.
Murdering our way through the SEC in 2023.
Actually, if somebody zoomed in on one of the hats, there's a Texas A&M logo on the side of one of their hats. So there were other fans wearing them mocking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still, my God.
Yeah, what are you guys rednecks doing?
That's brutal.
Switch gears real quick. Congratulations to 2 Cowboy wrestlers this morning. They've won their matches in the first round of the NCAA championships.
Nice.
Jor Volk at 125 defeated number 12 Michael DiGastino, probably butchered the name, from Northwestern. And then Jacob Wright.
He had an Indiana cat, right?
Yeah, and he just won. He beat the number 18 guy, Gilcher from Indiana, 3-2.
Awesome.
So, and Cole Moody lost, so he's going to have to fight his way back through the losers bracket.
Well, I'd say the Wyoming Cowboys have nothing to lose. They've had a rough year too, but man, they have nothing to lose. I love the attitude they're going in with here, and that Jory Volk or whatever. How you say, yeah, he's look. I remember when they signed him. He has a very impressive. He wrestled for Team USA or something, and won a big national world championship. Yeah. I think Mark can turn that around. The portal's even hitting them.
Yeah.
It's the way of the world now, and I know everybody hates it, and everybody wants loyalty and all that, but it's just not a reality anymore, unfortunately. So get over the Cowgirls game, St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure the bars are going to be fun in Laramie too. Trying to look through some stories. I did so many damn stories this week that I forgot. Oh, I stumbled on that one. I don't know if you saw it, Jared. Which quarterback will Wyoming face in Austin this year? Sounds like Steve Sarkisian's opening it up.
Yeah.
It's going to be between Ewers and Mr. Manning. And I don't know if you read the story, but the Cowboys just missed out on Peyton Manning when they played Tennessee in the early 2000s. And they missed out on Eli by 1 year when Ole Miss came to Laramie. And now they might finally get to face a Manning. And Steve Sarkisian, of course, will always be hated in Wyoming. And I know I share that with Mr. Jim Talich and Marcus Harris, our disdain for Steve Sarkisian. So I really would like to see Wyoming perform in that one. Isaiah Nair, of course, will be a big storyline that week. So it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like. Hopefully he doesn't look like Isaiah Nair. That would be great. So what time's the Cowgirls game, do you know?
6:30.
6:30, okay. And it's on the Mountain West Network, I assume?
Well, it's on Poke Vision, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can see that, or you can get over to the stadium. So over to the arena. They could potentially have a nice little run here at the arena. We're getting used to that.
Did see the bracket, though. If they win, they have to play the winner of K-State and somebody else. And who knows if that'll be at home or on the road.
K-State, Wichita State, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. And they already beat Wichita State on the road this year, I want to say. And then Peterson actually is from Kansas State, so that would be a nice storyline.
Doesn't the WNIT, don't they decide who's going to make them the most money?
The schools actually bid on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have to pay money to host games.
I'd imagine Wyoming has a hell of a lot more fans and all that.
K-State has a big following, but Wyoming did host them, that year that they made the run, and that was when Shaylee Lenning, Matt Lenning's little sister, was on the team and all that stuff too. So we'll see.
All right. Well, the Graham EK watch continues, fellas. We're definitely – my phone is dinging left and right with this transfer portal stuff, and I'm always just kind of –
holding your breath.
Yeah, thinking, oh, boy, I really don't want to see his name come across that. I really think if he stays, the Cowboys can be just fine. I think they'll be just fine next year. Mountain West losing a lot of firepower as well. Like I mentioned, San Diego State's losing 8 guys. Boise State's going to lose a ton of dudes. You have to wonder when somebody's going to come looking for Tyson Degenhart, like Gonzaga, where, he's from Spokane. That kid is so big and so thick being next to him in Vegas. Dude's a hoss, man. I would love to see him leave. I would love to see Talon Green, the quarterback at Boise State, leave. I'd like to see Boise State leave in general. Can they go to, the Big Sky? They have filled in.
Where they deserve to be.
They have slid in so seamlessly for BYU and Utah as far as just being absolute arrogant. Oh, I can't stand them. If you couldn't tell. Maybe they're reporters, too. Anyway. Good luck to the Cowgirls this week. And Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I love having your perspective. It's it's not every day. That's what we struggle with, right? We've talked about that so many guys play at Wyoming and then they don't live anywhere near here. So it's so nice to have guys that actually stuck around and stayed here. And I'm glad you moved to the good part of the state. Got out of Cody.
For sure. No, I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, it's good to hear your perspective, Jared, as always. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you.
We're going to have to start getting guests and stuff now.
We will.
We're going to run out of
this
stuff.
Studio gets.
Yeah, we're going to run out of games here shortly.
I got a list of some people that we can get a hold of.
Yeah, we'll get some dudes, and we need to get some guys from. Maybe we should we need to get you up to Cody for that.
Well, that's what Marcus was getting at last night. He wants me to come up. So,
dude, you should. And you like golf and stuff. You would love it. I just sit there and drink beer at the golf thing. I hate golfing. Do you even golf? Did you golf up there?
I'll golf.
And
I did golf Cowboy Joe, so I'm not good, but I like doing it.
Well, and this is a basketball. They're doing basketball this year.
Yeah.
I'm your coach.
I'm hoping not to blow an ACL or
I'm gonna be your coach this year.
You're gonna have to wear a mouth guard now.
I know.
Yeah, Adam just got
old metal
braces
mouth
this morning. Adult braces. Yeah, I didn't know Ryan Brown. I talked to him in Vegas. Apparently, I'm the coach of Team Wyoming. So you let me know if you need a blow. And I'm gonna
the whole game. Can I just be your assistant the whole game?
I'm gonna MF you up and down the court.
Guess what's happening in the NCAA tournament right now?
What's that?
A big upset. Bracket buster.
Mountain West team?
No.
Who is it?
Furman, Virginia.
Virginia.
2 seconds to go.
What's the score?
68-67 Furman.
Does Furman have the ball?
I think Virginia does.
Oh.
Because they just called timeout.
Man, Virginia loves screwing the pooch in March, don't
Lost
they?
to a 16. Now they may lose to a 13. And I think they just did.
Did they? You got the updated? I might be a little behind.
I'm not bummed.
Yep, Furman won by a point.
Wow. All right, let's get the hell out of here.
All right,
so
see
we
you
can
guys.
Drink beer and
See you guys.
Happy St. Patty's Day, by the way.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.